Hello and welcome back to the Fastest Podcast, where we cover everything from the greatest overtakes to the fastest pit stops. I'm your host Jazz, and today I have with me Pigeon and Dogra. Yay!
The magical duo.
The magical duo. Give me strength. So today on the podcast, we thought that we would cover some of the most controversial racing incidents that we've had this season. So we saw some discourse after the Mexican Grand Prix, and we asked you guys for what you wanted to hear from us for our midweek podcast, and you guys all voted that you wanted to talk about regulations and understanding the rules a little bit better, and we are all very qualified to talk about that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Well, I think we'll start with some of the incidents that we saw.
The spicy incident.
The spicy incidents. I mean, it all started in turn one, lap one, as the best incidents do. I mean, Mexico is
just like every race as well, you know.
Just like every race. Mexico's very well known for turn one incidents. We pretty much always see something go wrong at turn one in Mexico. And this year was no exception. We had a pretty chaotic opening lap, I would say.
I mean, it wasn't any really crashes or something like that, but it was 3 cars going onto the grass and then trying to refit into the order. And not everyone got their correct position. We'll be talking about that.
We will be talking about that.
It is difficult to find your place after just driving a Lambo or so. Yeah.
True. I think the issue from turn one, lap one, was that everyone seemed to find their place again, apart from a certain Mr. Charles Leclerc.
I thought we were talking about Hamilton.
No, Lewis was only in the wrong position because Leclerc did not give the position back as he maybe should have done. So let's get into that.
I mean, Mexico turn one, always good to see. You have at least 3 people go, into that turn. This year we had 4 people.
We had 4
in turn one. I mean, Max had to be, like a skateboard on the curbs. He had no car control whatsoever. He just went straight. It's a miracle he even kept the car out of the barriers. But then we had, of course, Norris, Hamilton, and Leclerc in that order. Norris, of course, kept it neat and tidy on the track. Hamilton followed him. But then it is the Ferraris who had a kind of issue. Hamilton was on the inside of him going into turn one. And then Leclerc couldn't really make the turn anymore, so he had to go off into the grass and rejoined ahead of Norris, which he gave that place back. He didn't, however, give back the place to his teammate Hamilton. And I mean, it wasn't noted or anything. It's just lap one chaos, and I don't think that Ferrari would have really contested that. But it is something that we noticed. If they were rivals, they would have probably said something, and they would have probably gotten that place back. But it was chaos, as George Russell so neatly described.
Yeah.
I mean, would you argue that it doesn't really matter whether or not they're rivals? It kind of hurts the integrity of what they were doing on track, because Lewis was technically ahead of his teammate. So once Leclerc did go onto the grass, he gave the position back to Norris. Shouldn't he have really given it back to Hamilton as well, based on the sporting code?
I mean, it's a difficult one. Like I said, lap one, it's always chaos. You never know where you are quite, especially if you just have to take the escape road. It's difficult to say, but yeah, I think if they were not teammates, they would have definitely tried to get that place back.
I mean, we didn't really hear Lewis complaining about it at that point in the race.
Well, he might
Maybe
have.
I don't think he
after, yeah.
I mean, I didn't hear him complain about it at all. Actually, I think he was busy with Verstappen at that point. That's why he was like, you know, let's not think about that. Think about that.
I mean, I've heard from, various other pundits that upon review, Karun Chandok, for example, I think has come out since the race and said, yeah, upon looking at the incident again, Leclerc really should have given the position back. I'd say just
What
for keeping it
did he get a
safe.
call from his team
It
to
is-
give the position
it
back?
is-
We don't know, right?
It is difficult though because you might have forgotten Verstappen also rejoined in front of Hamilton going into turn 3. He did, of course, have to place back. I think by turn 6 or 7, but that also factors in with how you give the place back and things like that. Because if he had sacrificed his race pace or lap time to let Hamilton back by, then he would also have Verstappen breathing down his neck. So
I mean, I can appreciate that at that point in the race when they're all bunched up, it would have been difficult to
yeah,
give the position back, especially after having given the place back to Norris as well. You don't want to lose time, you don't want to lose position, but I suppose
I mean,
we
it
kind of
costed
need
him.
to look at, but we also need to consider what he should have done because ultimately he cut the corner, which he had to do,
yeah. I mean, it's always.
but he
exciting
still
in
made that
turn 1.
decision. I think we need to consider what the right thing by the regulation is versus what maybe was practical or not practical at the time. Because I can appreciate it would have been difficult to give that position back at that stage. And you're right, they are teammates. They were both kind of in a position of nothing to lose. It's their best joint qualifying. Obviously, Leclerc's had his pole position, but as a team, it's the best that they've qualified together all season long.
Yeah.
I understand the dynamics at play here, and I understand as well that, again, not a ton to lose. But at the same time, I mean, do we as spectators want to see things like that get allowed?
I mean, for this particular situation of how it is lap 1, turn 1. It is always chaos and accidents are bound to happen. Whether they are big or small, they happen. That's just how it is. You have 20 cars.
I mean, one of the
going within 2 seconds of one another into a corner. If someone misses by anything, you're gonna have anything. So that's why the FIA usually they are more relaxed going into turn 1 on lap 1, and after that, once everyone has kind of gotten into their space, then they actually start to govern the rules. Except if there's a big crash or someone is really to blame. Yeah, I think that's just the lap 1, turn 1. I don't think it's actually specified in the rules, but it's an implied rule. Yeah, lap 1, turn 1.
I think,
Easier to
but the biggest surprise that came to me during this race was nobody DNF'd. All through that chaos, nobody DNF'd, which was just, I was like,
I mean,
is somebody out? Is somebody out?
I mean, Stroll did a celebratory 360, I believe. Lap 1.
I'd rather not talk about that. I mean, into the turn 1 chaos.
We had 3 DNFs, and I think they all came from drivers just driving it into the pits, except for Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
We will come on to Carlos Sainz.
We will, yeah.
We will.
But yeah, it was weird to see that every DNF came from a driver just driving into the pits. It doesn't happen often, so yeah.
Yeah. How many did we have? 3, right?
I think we had 3, yeah.
Hulkenberg, Alonso,
Sainz.
Sainz retired at the end of the race.
Yeah, but no. I think there was another one. Oh, Lawson.
Oh yeah, Lawson.
So we had 4 in total.
Yeah.
4 in total, 3 at the very start. I mean, during the race, mostly.
Yeah. Do you think Ferrari should have made the call?
I really feel like that should have been something that Ferrari should have done. Because if Leclerc got the call that he has to give the position back to Hamilton, there might have been less repercussions, or there might have been some different repercussions from what we saw. Maybe a 5-second penalty instead of a 10 for someone.
Are you hearing yourself? We're talking about repercussions, giving places back, and fighting for podiums. This is not McLaren,
no.
guys.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I need to lay down.
The fact of the matter is, Leclerc qualified in front. Yes, he cut the corner and he got in front of Hamilton, which may not have been legal, but I think if both drivers are okay with it, that's fair. That's Ferrari's decision. If they decide to have that be,
they might have made a radio call, right?
I don't like to see someone get somewhere on merit and then get it taken away, I suppose. Because it wasn't, he did everything right, and he is the only one that really lost out badly from that race, as we saw it unfold. So, I mean...
We'll get on to that.
We'll get on to that as well. But I don't know. Not even from a Lewis fan place. I think it's a shame that he qualified so well, for him in that car, and then everything just went wrong anyway. But also, he was ahead in that turn. Leclerc cut the over the grass. I don't like to see that really when it's any driver that's there on merit, Yeah. So I don't know.
I also saw pundits say that they should have given Verstappen a drive-through penalty just to deter that happening in the future. Cutting the grass in Mexico in Turn 1. I also saw complete redesigns of Turn 1 and 2. I don't know what they want.
Where's the fun in that?
They won the Bahrain Turn 1 and 2 in Mexico. Yeah.
But
I don't think that anyone should have...
Go ahead.
Completely interrupt her. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I don't think anyone should have been super heavily penalised. I don't think anyone should have been penalised for turn 1, lap 1. But I just think that they could have easily sorted that all out on the track without the FIA getting involved. That there was no real need for intervention from the FIA. I just think that if you look at the rules and you look at the way they're supposed to be applied, it shouldn't have gone like that. I think that was kind of the injustice in that scenario.
Yeah, I think FIA always handles teammates differently than rivals. I don't know, but I mean, we saw this with Mercedes in 2022 and 2023. They always battled heavily, and more than once you saw them going off track while battling. If they were rivals, then they would have definitely gone onto the radio and be like, hey, I need that place back because I was pushed off. With teammates, you don't see that, obviously, because team don't want to get overly involved with how the drivers race. McLaren!
Let me cover
the biggest gripe.
Yeah, I mean...
The biggest gripe of that was either 10 seconds, first and foremost, 10 seconds was too much. Secondly, it was only Hamilton.
We're not even talking about that incident yet. We're still talking about turn 1 and Leclerc getting ahead.
That was for the escape road situation, which we will be coming on to next. No, I mean, you're right though. But for this incident now, it just annoys me. Because we don't see things get applied correctly. And again, Ferrari doing Ferrari things, blah, blah, blah. We see it every week. We see it every session. Yeah. It always happens. Yeah. We're never going to escape it. But
I mean,
it just annoys me.
To summarize, if it had been Norris and Hamilton side by side, Hamilton putting a move on Norris on the inside, and then Norris going off onto the grass and then keeping the position, we definitely would have seen people going onto the radio and FIA intervention. But I think because they are teammates and because they were side by side and because they didn't say anything, they didn't do anything with it.
Maybe I'm a stickler for the rules, and I enjoy a bit of aggression into turn 1. I don't want them to just, be super,
Mellow?
strict on it. I just think Ferrari should have said, nah, swap back, boys. Because, he got there on merit. Leclerc's the one that had to give a position back anyway. I think once they'd settled from turn 1, turn 2, that sequence, I think Ferrari should have got on the phone and said, please.
That's not correct, boys.
We agree that you should have the position.
Yeah, but let's move on from this one because it's kind
Just
of
a turn
an
ahead.
anticlimactic. Let's fast forward a few laps. This one is slightly anticlimactic, and Lewis' suffering only got worse as the race progressed, which is what we will talk about next.
I mean, we touched on it in the race review as well.
Yeah, we have touched on it already, but let's talk about it in a bit more depth now. The whole Max Lewis escape road situation.
I mean,
thoughts.
So, if you look at it from purely racing, I think it was
racing incident,
which we haven't seen much this season.
I'll take it.
But then Hamilton was pinged 3 separate times between turn 1 and turn 4. Once for causing a collision with Verstappen. They deemed that no further action. They said Verstappen dove to the inside, and at the apex, Verstappen's front axle was at the same level as Hamilton's mirror. Thus, he had earned his right to be there to race him. They had slight contact between the wheels, and then they went through turn 2 together, after which Verstappen took onto the grass ahead of turn 3, and then they went side by side onto the DRS straight. That is just turn 1 incident, the collision. Then they both go onto the straight with Verstappen and Hamilton coming out. I think they were side by side.
Almost side by side, yes.
But then Hamilton locks up. It happens to the best of us. And he can't make the provided escape road. He was pinged for that as well. Going onto an escape road and not using it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They said no further action. They looked at the onboard and they said, well, he had way too much speed to even think about getting onto that road and making it safely. And then he was pinged a third time because, in their opinion, Hamilton overtook Verstappen off track. That's the story that the stewards told. In their eyes, Verstappen had already overtaken him, and then he overtook him again, but through the grass, which wasn't allowed. That's why he got the 10 seconds. I think it's heavy even for leaving the track and getting an advantage. I think
that's way too much.
If they had given any penalty, 5 would have been more than enough. And I don't agree with the penalty on its merits because I didn't consider Verstappen to be ahead at any point. I think it was still just racing. They were racing each other. Let them race.
My argument, as I made abundantly clear post-race, he wouldn't have been on the grass, he wouldn't have been anywhere near the escape road, and he wouldn't have rejoined the track, had to rejoin the track, if Max hadn't put him off the track. But
I mean, so FIA doesn't do cause and effect. The thing was they went onto the second DRS straight together. They reached the corner at the same time. Hamilton just missed his braking point. But they still considered Verstappen to be ahead of him, and then that Hamilton overtook Verstappen off the grass, which I really don't agree with. I think it's just racing. And even turn 1, I think it was on the line of racing and really a collision. But if the FIA says that that's allowed, that I will accept that. I think it's on the line of racing, but hard racing, like any driver has said, is what they want. So I didn't deem Verstappen at any point to be really ahead of Hamilton, and especially not if you cut the grass at the turn 3.
That's my question. Were FIA watching the same race, or
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Like, I didn't really consider Max to be ahead. I thought they were just racing in that moment, and it was enjoyable. It was kind of what we want to see. We're not asking for too much here, but I just don't agree that A, the penalty was fitting, and B, if they were going to give the penalty, I'll accept the penalty for Lewis. He did something wrong. Penalise him. But you also have to penalise Max, I think, because ultimately Lewis wouldn't have been in the position where he had to do any of those things if he hadn't been wheel to wheel. I don't really agree with the whole cause and effect thing that the FIA roll out, because I think there are situations where, you know, a driver wouldn't violate track limits or do X, Y, Z if it wasn't for who they were racing against. So I think sometimes you have to consider the cause to be able to correctly judge an incident.
Yeah, I think they should just also introduce a third state of you know, driving, which is you either have you cause
they're not allowed. They're not allowed to drive.
It's either you cause an incident and that is, you know, cause and effect. You're either just driving without an incident and then you're racing. They should give more leeway when you're actually racing. If you're wheel banging, don't give a penalty for causing collision if they're just racing and wheel banging.
Yeah.
Another thing that we will be coming on to.
But,
I mean,
see, I'm telling you, they should start watching podcasts. We have so many good ideas.
Yeah, I think in this scenario, there should have been no scenario where Hamilton was penalized and Verstappen wasn't. Either give them both a penalty, or don't give one,
or none
at
of them,
all. Or just Verstappen, because he was the one trying to overtake. He was the overtaking party in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't make sense. It doesn't sit right, and
things like this do happen. Ultimately, they both came out of it clean, and Lewis's whole race was just completely ruined. I mean, we've had the conspiracy theorists out in full force saying that the FIA is sabotaging Lewis and they don't want him to win again. Win what? He was not going to win the race for a start. They don't want him to win again. And, you know, just the penalty was justifiable. It was harsh. The 10 seconds was harsh. It should have been 5 max, I think.
Yeah.
Based on the criteria that we had in front of us. But my real only issue with it is that if you're going to penalise one of them, you have to penalise both, I think, in that set of circumstances.
Yeah.
So
either both
don't
or
dip your toe in. Either get in or get out. That's kind of my...
And I think because they gave the 10-second time penalty and the field was so packed up, they were really bunched together, I think Hamilton lost like 3 places because of the 10 seconds rather than 5. Yeah.
That's a sad...
To be fair, I don't think that he would have finished on the podium had he not gone.
No, I don't think he would have either.
But he would have been 4 or 5. Top 5 would have been possible.
Yeah, definitely. But I just don't think that he would have been on the podium.
I think Max would have got past him anyway. They were doing such a nice little bit of wheel to wheel for us. It was reminiscent of the horrible old days. You know, there was enjoyment, and we were seeing racing. And okay, Lewis locked up, Max went in aggressive. But this is kind of what we want to see. It is just racing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And no one picked up any damage. Everyone was happy, and it just completely tanked Lewis's race. I think Max would have got him anyway. Max would have been on that podium regardless. I don't like the disparity that we see in application of penalties. And I think the other incidents that we're going to be talking about, that's when you see how bad it gets and how bad it's kind of been this season. Carlos Sainz is not a friend to the stewards. Before we move on to that, is there anything else anyone wants to say about Max and Lewis in Mexico?
No, I think we've covered most of it.
We've covered all the bases, yeah.
I mean, I do always like when they go wheel to wheel because they are both multiple world champions and they really showed us what they could do in 2021. If you count every race other than Abu Dhabi, like we were treated to excellent.
Some of the best racing in F1 history.
Yeah,
I was treated to heart palpitations, but yes.
me too. But yeah, but it's always fun to see those two go wheel to wheel, especially when they are not fighting for a win.
I mean, Max was fighting like they were fighting for a win.
Yeah, but yeah.
But no.
I think they really need to have a strong look at how they apply penalties and what for. Also for the sake of competition. I don't think you should give penalties for cause and effect. Like if someone does something and then DNFs, you should still give a penalty if that move was penalty worthy. But if you look at Bearman's penalty in Brazil last year, he touched Colapinto. He spun himself. Colapinto just kept on going without losing anything, and he still got a penalty. And yeah, you touched him, but he didn't lose anything. So
yeah, exactly.
I think that's penalty for the sport of competition. You know, I don't think that should have been a penalty because you didn't lose the other driver any
I
time.
would argue though that if the move is illegal, you shouldn't be allowed to get away with it.
Yeah, that is true.
But he didn't get away with it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, but that consequence of your own actions ultimately, and also you can't.
I think in this context, it's like
that's the thing.
The consequences is enough. I feel like if there is a consequence one way or the other, whether by yourself or by FIA intervention, that's more than enough. Your race is already ruined. Then the FIA steps in and just completely takes away the hope of winning anyway. So what's the point?
I do understand when we have conversations like this. I really do understand how difficult it is to make the call and to apply things correctly and to be consistent with it. But it's kind of still no excuse because that's not my job to be consistent and apply the penalty. If that's your job, you should do it consistently and you should do it effectively.
And also pay the people who give the penalties, please.
And keep them permanent. Don't rotate them. But that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, I know.
That's a whole other.
I just think the FIA can't help it if you make an illegal move and you also hurt your own race. That's not the FIA's fault that you hurt your own race. You shouldn't have done the move. So they should still apply the penalty, I think. Sometimes, when it's in the heat of the race and it's like we as fans see something and we're like, oh yeah, but he suffered enough from that and his race is ruined anyway.
Yeah,
because he ruined his own race. That's not the FIA's fault ultimately.
Like I said in the Brazil context, Bearman touched Colapinto. Colapinto didn't lose anything. He just touched him slightly, and then he spun himself. Colapinto didn't lose anything. I don't even think that's considered to be an illegal move.
But
considering the wet conditions, that is.
Yeah, I think that's a whole other thing. I would argue that if the move was illegal, regardless of him ruining his own race, that's what I mean. I don't think that the move itself in that moment in time was penalty worthy to begin with. What I would say is if the move was illegal, just because he ruined his own race in the process.
They should still be penalized. If you do a move that's penalty worthy because you ruined someone else's race, whether you yourself get ruined by it, that's not terrible.
Your own fault.
That's something we call karma.
Yeah. I do understand why it is so difficult to keep things consistent because there's so much discourse from fans. We'll watch it and we will have a different opinion all the time in every single racing incident. there is never a unanimous decision, whether that be through bias or whether that be through whatever. All fans can never agree. So I understand why things go a bit sideways, I suppose.
Yeah.
Speaking of going sideways, let's talk about Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson in Zandvoort this year.
I mean, okay, we should probably give some context to this.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so Liam Lawson and Sainz, I think it was at the safety car restart, they had a moment. Sainz touched Lawson. They both spun, I believe, both had damage. They both had to go into the pits, and they had to continue their race. Sainz was then given a penalty and penalty points, which he tried to overturn later on. Which he did win, but he still got
very aggressively.
He tried with a vengeance.
He still got the penalty, but he got the penalty points removed. So
yeah.
The move itself was, I think, racing just going wrong.
Yeah,
pretty much, I guess.
Really wasn't much.
He caught Lawson's back left tire.
It's literally just
DNFs or
even a
anything.
spin. It was just two tires hitting one another at a really
Yeah.
unfortunate angle, which caused both of them to have a flat tire. Yeah, and that's about it. And I think
It's
that's
not
really
ideal.
that's just really racing. There's not much more to it. The fact that
I
they
think-
gave a penalty for it went viral, of course, and then the whole process also went viral. I am glad to see an FIA verdict overturned, though, because it doesn't happen often, and when it does happen, you can really see that most of the time everyone is pretty much on the same page when it comes to these penalties.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we could talk about in terms of FIA penalties getting overturned because it opens a lot of doors that are very much grey area doors.
A few windows too.
A few windows, couple of gates. It opens things up and it gets murky, shall we say, pretty quickly. Some people will say when a decision gets overturned by the FIA, it's not the right thing to do because, well, they made the decision and it's been applied, so blah, blah, blah. Other people will say it shows openness and they're willing to reevaluate their decisions. The problem that we have is that in that hour and a half that we're watching a race on a Sunday afternoon, we kind of want the decision to be the right one the first time that they make it.
Yeah, I mean, in this case especially, because you had to serve that penalty during a pit stop.
Yep.
And once you serve that penalty, it cannot be turned back.
Yeah, you can't
Because
unserve
Exactly.
that
Took it on track,
penalty.
and in the case of Zandvoort, we had a late safety car. It was a 5-second penalty, I believe. Sainz finished 13th, I believe. Not quite sure anymore. And it was if you count back to 5 seconds before, he would have been like 6th, which wouldn't be right because he was fighting for P14 at the time, I believe. So you can't serve it back. You can, however, if you finish the race with that penalty, and then it just gets added to your complete race time, and then they can track that. But in this case, it was given early on in the race, and they have to serve it during the pit stop. If you don't serve it during the pit stop, you get another penalty. So it opens a box of possibilities, of course.
It's a messy one because, like you say, you can't turn back time on that one. So we don't really know how his race might have panned out. You can't really easily make that kind of determination after. And the fact that it went on for so long, it wasn't like he got out the car, went to the stewards and spoke to them and they overturned it immediately. That went on a bit.
For
That
for
took
about
its
3
sweet
days,
time.
I feel
I
like.
mean, you
Yeah.
have as a team, you have 2 weeks, I believe, to submit protest. Then the
Yeah.
FIA has to accept your protest, and that doesn't even get the penalty overturned. That's just the fact that they will listen to you.
Yeah, they'll look at
penalty.
they'll look at it.
What you have to do to get that hearing where they actually talk about the penalty is you have to provide new information which serves your goal. In this case, I believe it was extra onboard footage and Delta and whatnot. Because they have access to a lot of data, but not everything, of course. So in this case, yeah, like we said, looking at the onboards, it really wasn't much. No one turned in excessively. No one had a moment. No one did anything on purpose. It was just 2 wheels, and you have 2 punctures, which is pretty easy to do these days. Just an unfortunate racing incident, but the FIA side as
I'm having
As a
flashbacks.
deliberate sabotage.
Yeah.
It's the whole onboard thing really takes me back to 2021. The availability of certain camera angles just really throws you back in the deep end. But we're not here to talk about 2021. I will not linger on that issue. I probably will, but that's neither here nor there.
Bringing it up then.
You talked about onboards. It got me thinking.
Okay.
Brazil 2021. The issue is that you can't satisfy everyone when you make these decisions, because ultimately Sainz isn't going to be happy. They've still, thanks for overturning it, you still ruined my race. I'm sure Liam Lawson was not the happiest of men. He rarely is on the track. So I don't think he would have been jumping for joy that day either, because ultimately he would argue that it still hurt his performance. So why have you overturned it? And then, of course, you've got other people in the sport. You've got the fans, you've got the pundits, people that are kind of like looking at it and going, what does this really mean when the FIA overturns something? Because we as fans want, openness and clarity during a race.
Not after it.
That's
not
a whole
after
other
it.
Podcast, to be honest.
That is a whole other podcast.
But
it's like
I do get what you mean.
It's difficult because I think, in football, for example, if there's an offside goal or something on that nature, I don't watch a lot of football, but I got this one, right? They, in front of you, they evaluate what has happened.
Do that.
Yeah. We don't get to watch the FIA make decisions in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's even harder for people to come to any sort of agreement about when incidents do happen, because we don't really get that transparency. And then people feel more afflicted by that lack of transparency in these situations.
The FIA docs really paint a pretty good picture of whatever happens, and if a penalty is applied, it shows what they deemed the truth. And it will give an argument for their decision. Whether it's the right one is not always the case, of course, as we saw with Hamilton's particular penalty over here. But it does paint a good picture. So if you're ever weirded out by a decision of the FIA, or just don't know how they got to their decision, just have a look at the documents. They're free to watch, free to look at. You can read them. It's not always the best read, but
I like the short ones.
Yeah, but the no further action ones.
Yeah,
those
are my favorites.
Summarize these.
No, but if you're ever not sure how they got to their decision, you can read them. You can disagree with them. But it will paint a good picture of what they thought and how they got to their decision.
There's nothing like being mid-race and getting a flurry of FIA docs through.
Yeah.
Light reading. On the topic of Carlos Sainz,
Isn't the
Let's
only
move on.
time.
Let's move on to our next incident. So I think we have kind of agreed that the Zandvoort incident, not really his fault.
Just racing
Racing
unfortunate
incident.
I think everyone agreed with that. Maybe not Lawson because he was the victim of that unfortunate incident, but Sainz was hit as well. So, and it really wasn't deliberate hard racing, or it was just a slight touch that just went wrong.
Speaking of slight touches that just went wrong, oh, didn't like that. Let's talk about
You're the only one talking.
Monza.
Yeah.
The following race, Sainz ended up on the other side, but not really, of another racing incident. This time with Ollie Bearman. The more I look at that racing footage, the more I instantly just feel that Sainz was completely at fault there, and Ollie got a bit shafted.
I think everyone had that thought.
Yeah.
I
don't think I discovered something through that feeling that way, but
at the time I was completely focused on not getting a safety car because Verstappen was leading. But after the race, actually having a moment to review the incident, I don't know how the FIA saw Bearman as the instigator of that incident.
Yeah, I mean, he turned when he was supposed to turn. He did all the right things. Sainz just... It's like his car was magnetically like...
He didn't really get a chance to turn in, to be fair.
He got halfway there.
Yeah. So, I have the doc with me. They say that Sainz attempted to overtake Bearman into turn 4 at Monza, which is a chicane. They said that Sainz had his front axle ahead at the apex, which was on the outside of a chicane, and therefore he had earned the right to race. Then Bearman tried to defend his position on the inside and caused a collision when Sainz turned in. That's what the FIA, I'm paraphrasing here, of course, but that's what they said. They applied the standard 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. If you, however, review the footage, you'll come to a quick conclusion. You're trying to overtake someone around Ascari. No, sorry.
No, sorry. I was being like, don't do that.
You try to overtake someone around the outside of a chicane. That doesn't work. It just doesn't. I mean, I know that Piastri did it to Norris a couple of years back. That doesn't mean that you can do it anyways.
That was very aggressive, solid. I'm not complaining about it, but
different situation altogether because I think he was actually already.
They were kind of through the corner. They were between the bits that make it a chicane. The things.
Curbs. Whatever.
Wheel knowledge.
So they both went into that corner. Bearman tried to defend. Sainz thought, hey, I'm gonna just turn in, and then they both spun.
It was a very nice synchronized spin.
It was.
In their defense.
I must say that I do like the Silverstone double house spin better.
Yeah, that was pretty elite.
Yeah.
There was something poetic about that spin, I think. I don't know.
We'll do another podcast on rating driver spins.
We should.
Would that feature the half spin drifts?
No, actual spins.
360s.
Lance Stroll compilation video. But anyway, no, the Monza. No, I think the thing about it is like I don't understand why Ollie was so harshly penalised. Not only did he get the penalty, he got points as well, didn't he? He got 2 points.
Penalty
He got
4.
two
2
pen-
4.
No, he got 2
Okay.
penalty points in Monza. He did get 4 in Silverstone. He got 2 penalty points for that, which got him up to 10 total. So sorry, which he still has, I believe.
Ollie, lock in, my boy.
Oh yeah,
Lock in.
I think he has.
I mean,
No,
yeah, he's a rookie, so not been a year yet.
No, that just.
I do think that some will expire after Brazil, though. So
I think so. Yeah, but I just. That's such a strange. Well, not strange, but a very harsh penalty for that. And it wasn't his fault. Did Haas contest that at all?
I don't think they did.
Guys, what the hell? No, I think genuinely that's, first of all, just way too harsh from the FIA. Second of all, what are they doing? Free your boy.
I mean, I think we have had multiple discussions, not here with F1, about how you go racing and who has the right to race, when, where, and how. If you have the right to race, you're not allowed to push a driver off. That's not racing. They have determined that you have the right to race if you are close enough, not really ahead, but close enough at the apex. But this is oversimplified. Because if you have to apply it to a chicane, where you have to defend the inside of the chicane, you should have the automatic right to that corner.
Yeah, so it's a finicky old place to make a move like that.
And also because I'm not trying to defend any driving here, but the drivers also respond to how the racing rules are formulated. If the racing rules say you have the right to race if your front axle is ahead at the apex, drivers will try to be ahead at the apex just so they can say, I was ahead.
Yeah.
They don't care about the fair racing at that point, because the FIA are also bound by the rules. They can't just say, oh yeah, that was a really... I think this is the racing rules as they set it right now is way too simple. But of course, if you're going to have exceptions, then you have to fill another whole Ferrari-sized strategy book.
No.
We don't want that, so...
No. Ferrari's strategy would be this thin because they don't follow anything.
No, they have like 17 alphabets filled with strategy options.
They don't follow any of them, just...
But yeah, if we have to talk about racing in general, I think that the current racing rules are too simple and not applicable to every situation.
But I suppose that's the other problem. If they make them more complex.
No, they just need to add one situation variable. Look at the situation. Think of how the driver were, what situation the drivers were in. Think of the track. Look at the size of the goddamn cars, and then make a decision. Instead of just following the rule book, right?
Again, like we want to see penalties applied during the race. We complain about late penalties in the day. It makes it really difficult, I think, situation to situation. There are a lot of issues, I think, that we have with the rulebook in general. Just so many. So many. But
also, you can have a read at that if you want.
I have done enough reading of the F1 2025 regulations and also the International Sporting Code to last me a lifetime.
Chapter 5, page 59.
I've got it bookmarked. It's a really good sleep aid. But the fact of the matter is the Monza incident is just
stupid.
Stupid, yeah, genuinely. There's no
the only variable you have to fix that. The only variable you have to add is logic, and then you just fix it. Because Sainz might have had the right to race, but there was no reasonable situation in which he would have overtaken him, other than Bearman having to slam on the brakes.
We've seen over the last. Well, we've always seen it actually in the sport. I'm not gonna say recently, but a recent driver, shall we say, who's very good at finding a loophole because of how creatively the regulations are applied. Max Verstappen, right? He's done some stuff on track that he's managed to kind of worm his way out of. And I respect it, because ultimately, if you're given the room to find a loophole, which the drivers are given because of how interestingly the regulations are applied, they're going to take it. Like you say, if about being ahead at the apex, you shouldn't have created a scenario where things like that can happen, where drivers can go, oh, well, I just did this, and like, should it be like that?
The thing is, if you have the rules as written, and you have established a certain way which you apply them, drivers are really competitive, of course. They also want to make it through the race, of course. So drivers who are really good at the wheel, who have amazing car control, they will try something more brave. People who aren't that comfortable in the car because they have a terrible car or not the driving style or whatever, they'll try to be more on the cautious side, and they'll pick their moments. But if you tell Verstappen, we're not going to be policing lap 1, turn 1 incidents that much, he will try to be as aggressive on lap 1, turn 1.
We will see a car get launched into space if you told him something like that.
No, but that's you know, you get my point.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
If you tell drivers that these are the rules and these are the way that they are going to be applying them, they will try to get an edge on that.
Yeah.
That's not just Verstappen, that's every driver.
That's any driver.
Tries to get anything Verstappen might be on the extreme side of that.
I only say him because he's a good example, and it's not a criticism of him. It shows how like smartly,
he's always
whether
on
or
the
not I
edge.
Agree with everything he does,
He's always
he
on
does
the
go
edge.
racing in a smart way.
He's
Yeah,
always on the edge, and he always tries to find some way to gain that edge. And I think if you compare US GP 2024 to Mexico 2024, that is a prime example of finding the edge and going over it.
I don't know what Mexico does to him.
I think it's the lack of oxygen in the air or something.
The air is too thin up there
but
for him.
If you look at USGP last year, he had an amazing defensive drive against Norris, in which he constantly kept his car on track while Norris had to take the escape road. And the rules say if both drivers keep the car on track and he overtakes someone, you earn the place. If both go off, then you don't get to defend it. And if the defending driver stays on track, then the place is defended. They have no right to the place. And that's what he did the entire race. And then if you look at Mexico, Verstappen he went ham on Norris in turns 4 and 8, trying to overtake him off track and then keep positions, which did earn him a 10-second time penalty. Yeah. But those are prime examples of if you give them an inch, they will take an inch and sometimes more.
And then we saw Verstappen going ham on Hamilton, am I right? But
on that note, we might just finish the podcast.
That is a natural breaking point, I think. Thank you, Dogra.
You're welcome.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of our take on these various incidents that we've seen this season. Obviously, we could go into a lot of detail, especially over the last few years. But I think as we've kind of unanimously agreed, there's a lot of grey area. There are a lot of loopholes and a lot of different ways of looking at things, you know, artistic license, shall we say, that certain drivers take because they've been given the tools to do that. So yeah, a lot of these incidents, you could argue them differently to how we perceive them and how the FIA perceive them. If you really want to scrutineer with the rules, there's plenty to look at, and you can find all the documents online. That is all from us for today. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Leave us comments as well about anything that you want us to be talking about, especially now that it's not race week. We will be back at the weekend with another trivia night. Qatar
Hosted
edition,
by yours
Dogra?
truly.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have Brazil, and then we have Vegas, and then we have. But yeah, Doggo will be hosting, and I think we will no doubt see Qatar tracks.
Wait, Vegas is coming, right? Gambling time.
Thank you for watching, and please do keep an eye out on our socials for updates as well about all things going on Formula One. Keep an eye on our website, our TikTok. Our TikTok is new. We're trying to grow it.
Our Facebook.
Facebook is even more new than TikTok, so please do keep an eye out on social media for more news about our updates and, of course, what we're all here for, Formula One. So we will be back at the weekend with trivia night. God knows what Dogra is going to do to us, so stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.